If you went to Stevens Billings this morning, I saw the line in the library, it looked ridiculous.
Wow.
Do some people still not have textbooks?
Yes.
Okay. She said tomorrow at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. Why you're coming to school that early, I don't know. It can wait till 7:30. But at 7 a.m. she's going to start meeting in the textbook distribution room, which is on the 200 hallway. She's supposed to send the teachers a picture of it, and I swear I will steal it and post it over to the classroom to help you as a reference. Yes, dear.
Okay, well, I'm not here, like, I don't come
You're not
to
gonna be
school
home
until
Friday.
9 o'clock.
Oh, perfect. That's fine.
All days, because I've been internship.
Okay, she's supposed to bring me the extras after that time period tomorrow morning. If I have to go track them down during my planning period, I will. I will find the extra flamingos. Worst comes to worst, if it's just you, I have one. So, if it's just one, I have it. Okay, the problem is I still can't assign homework from a mysterious book that you don't all have. So, would it be smart of you to be working along with us? Absolutely. Eventually, I'm probably going to say all the things you need. My plan is for a test, and I wanted it to be 8:25. Does anyone know what's a bad idea for it to be 8:25? This is why we should not like that period. Why is 8:25 a bad idea?
Pep rally.
Which is so terrific and so exciting, except that AP stats that made that on the Steve. So, what that means is our worst nightmare is happening. You're going to end up having a Monday test on the 28th. So I always hate Monday tests, but it cannot be avoided. Unless, of course, you would like to start it on 8:25 or come take a zero period on 8:25. I do not care. All those decisions are up to you. Personally, I would rather take tests on a Friday than a Monday. But again, all that is up to you. So someone was asking about the textbook. We had discussed that there were specific problems we had assigned. I'm sure eventually, since we're getting our textbook so late, I'm going to have to crack and say, hey, I need you to have done specific ones. In fact, I'm going to look through it this weekend and decide which ones are most important to me. And narrow it to like 20, because right now it's like a list of 40. If Sally wants to be an overachiever, and she wants to do them all, she could definitely get bonus out of me, or whoever.
Whoa.
She could definitely get bonus out of me.
She did not just say
And
that.
I guess I will be an overachiever.
Yeah. However, I'm going to look through it this weekend, and I'll either post on Google Classroom or tell you Monday afternoon of which problems, like, Hunter has to have. He must have, like, 1, 7, 9, like, which ones he has to have or else. Let me look through it and decide which ones I cannot live without, and I will adjust this list on Monday. Okay. You had a question, dear?
Yeah, can I put there?
Yeah. For today, you sure can. Okay.
It's nothing personal.
Yesterday, good grief, we were working on a problem that involved, okay, we cussed yesterday. Does everyone remember what does cuss stand for? Center, the U is for
Unusual
features, the first S is for
Spread.
and the second S is for spread. Okay, when you say center, table 2, what does center mean? Mean, median, or mode. Okay, which one's the most reliable?
Median.
The median's the most reliable. Perfect. When I say unusual features, what do I mean?
Extraneous values.
Yeah.
And they're called,
Outliers.
and we're going to have a specific formula we're learning today about that. And if it's not an outlier, you could just say it's extraneous, or we had another word for it.
Or it's important.
You could just say it's an important point, an influential point. And then we had gaps and something else.
Spread.
No. Clusters.
There could be a cluster.
Which one?
Okay. Oh, that's when we nurse. Let's go ahead and I'll let table 2 handle shape because she's already all over it. So shape was for skewed left, skewed right, or
Uniform.
yeah, it could be uniform, or what we're praying for is for symmetric. We would love for that pretty looking bell curve, that mound shape. That's what we would like.
Love mountains.
If it was mound shaped, what would that mean about the median and the mean?
The same.
They match, and that would be our dream come true. Does that always happen in life?
No.
That would be our dream come true.
I mean, it should have.
As for, so we did the first CS, so shape and spread. What did spread mean?
Like how far apart they are.
Table 3.
How,
Oh, 3.
That's you.
Oh.
You're trying to talk and he's trying to talk.
Spread.
The spread of the
Spread.
spread of the graph, so how could you calculate that? You could use the,
Right.
and then you can use the range. And the IQR. Okay, so, and then the other thing we hadn't talked about, there's one more term we haven't spent much time on it yet. You know what it is. Starts with an S.
Sugar ray.
I'll give it to you. Standard deviation. We haven't really talked about it. Okay, so the range is great, but kind of like the mean, obviously the outliers affect the range. So we would rather use that interquartile range, which is what we were discussing yesterday before the bell rang. So we were trying to actually apply the IQR knowledge. We talked about how Q1 was the lower 25%, how Q3 was the upper 25%, and we would like to cut those out and just use the middle 50% when we make guesses. If we cut those out, technically we're cutting out the outliers. So we were trying to work through this example down to the bottom with a stem plot, and I just felt like there were some who understood what on God's green earth I was doing, but there were a lot of deers and headlight looks. There were a lot of them. So if you did not understand how Ms. Compton picked 22.5 to be the median, for instance, then it might be a good idea to additionally list it on a separate sheet of paper. So I actually took all the values and I listed them in order on a separate sheet of paper. And I was like, forget the stem plot. You know, yes, I made a stem plot and I followed the directions, but this makes sense to me. I understand all the numbers are in order. And so you don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can just look at mine and maybe draw it later. So we decided there were 20 points, and so the median was between 10 and 11. And that's how we got 22.5. Because we averaged 20 and 25 and got 22.5. Are there any questions about why the median is 22.5?
No.
Okay, then we were trying to, and that's when the bell rang, or really you just got lost, I don't know. We were trying to decide where Q3 was and where Q1 is and where to put that line. So we know there are 10 points above the median and there are 10 points below the median. So we're going to cut that 10 in half. So what's 10 divided by 2?
5.
So we're going to go in between 5 and 6, and we're going to say that's where Q1 is. So Q1 is actually at 15.
Between 15 and 15.
Okay, and then we're going to use that same logic and go and find Q3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 below. So between 40 and 45 is Q3. So what's the average of 40 and 45? 42.5. So we found the value. Q3 is 42.5. Q1 is 1.5. Or is 15. Good grief. Okay, so back to yesterday. We had made a key. We were trying to figure out Q1 and Q3. We were on question 3. It said, find and interpret the IQR. There is a formula for IQR. What is the formula? What is the formula for finding the interquartile range? Okay, so that makes sense. You take the higher Q3 minus the lower Q1, and that gives you that middle 50%. So for us, we're going to take 42.5 minus 15, and if you want to just write that on your tiny paper, it'll still fit. So what is 42.5 minus 15?
27.5?
27.5 is our interquartile range.
27 or 26?
I got 27.5.
Ms. Compton.
Yes, dear.
Someone in my English class got a quarter on the clock and 25.
That's funny. That's funny. Did you tell them there weren't 100 minutes in the clock?
No, I just cried a little bit.
Oh. Okay, so we found the IQR, but this is the whole point of why you're in AP Stats, is that we have to interpret it. So now I need to take that 27.5 and actually use the context to explain it. Can someone do so? $27.5 what? Minutes. So there's a 27.5 minutes.
To get to work in New York.
Okay, but really, what is the IQR measuring?
Sort of like the sensor data
The average.
Interquartile.
I mean, what did we decide it was in cuss?
to avoid.
Where did it fit? What letter of cuss?
Spread.
It was with the spread. So the IQR is supposed to explain the spread. So really, there's a 27.5 minute difference in commute. So there's a difference in commute between, and then I made it straight up about Q1 and Q3, between the lower 25% of people observed.
So you're literally saying exactly
And
what it is.
exactly what it is. Or in fact, maybe that's too many words. I agree with Louise. That's a lot of words. So maybe I shouldn't even say that much. Maybe I should just say a 27.5 difference in commute, and then just stop there. Maybe he's right. Maybe we're supposed to actually know what IQR is. So if we just put the word different, implying that there is a spread, that's fine. Thank you, Louise. I was getting wordy. Getting wordy for no reason. Okay, so we found the IQR. So, really, we've been cussing through this example. When we found the median, we were doing the C. We're doing S with the spread, and with the stem plot, we kind of already talked about the weird shape and the fact that it's definitely, I didn't draw that well, and you can't see what I'm doing. With our stem plot we made the other day, if you try to draw a graph on top, which I know you were doing the other day, Sally, if you try to draw a graph on top, it's definitely skewed a specific way. Is that skewed left or skewed right?
Skewed left, right.
It's the opposite of what you think. The tail is what you look at, so it's skewed right. So we've already cussed, except for the only thing we haven't discussed is unusual features.
You a rapper?
What?
You said cuss and discuss.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. The only thing we haven't really discussed is unusual features, but that's about to come up on the next page. We'll get to that in just a second. Okay, so part 4 says, find the mean of travel times. How does the mean compare to the median? And what does this confirm about the shape of the distribution times? This is going to be the most important thing we probably do on this problem. Does everyone have a calculator? If you've got a calculator, get it out. If you don't, come borrow one now.
I need
I
to try
love
my battery.
Try that one. You don't need to do anything.
This is for when I get picked by
Welcome to stats. We're gonna press statty buttons.
The button that says stat.
Yes, you need a fancy one. Does anyone have a not have a fancy calculator? Like I need it to be able to graph and everything.
Ah, dang it.
Two fancy things.
Okay.
Are we finally going to press the stat button?
As of today, yes we are.
Why does it have a set button?
So surely to God it does. If it doesn't, we need to upgrade the calculator. Okay, so it says we need to find the mean of the data. Find the mean of the travel times. Now, you're very smart. We could add up all 20 numbers and then divide by 20. And if we had all kinds of free time, I'd say sure, go for it. But we don't. There is a faster way thanks to this thing. So if you'll press second and then list. List is, in my calculator, written in blue above the word stat. We are going to have to type this in the list. So I'm going to go to L1. Oh crap, I did that wrong. It's not been my day, let me tell you that much. I lied. You'll forgive me for that. He wins. Press the stat button. Not second list, just press the stat button like normal. Just stat, all by itself. Then press edit. And you see that there are columns where you can type junk into. And guess what? This is our go-to, where we're going to type all our data into. It'll make life so much easier. So let's see, our values were 10. So we're going to type in 10, 30, 5, 25. Can anyone not get to this?
I'll find out if I can.
Come. I can't reach. You can't. 25, 40. I pressed stat and then edit. And that's how I'm typing on the list. Did you press stat and then edit? I'm putting in the 20 points that we had from our example. Those. Okay, and I'm just going straight across the list. So I was at 40,
Well, never mind.
Oh,
and 20. This is probably not 10, 15. It doesn't matter if you put it on L1 or L2. It doesn't matter where you put it as long as you remember where you put it. 30, 20, 15, 20, 85, 15, 65, 15, 60, 60, 40, 45. Okay, then once I know I'm right, and this is why, well, it's hard to see. Let's see, it'll adjust. If you're questioning yourself of like, hey, I'm really stressed. Did I actually type in all the numbers? I know this is my last number because it's the 20th. So I know I'm right. So if you're ever questioning yourself, it's not a bad idea to look back over your list, but I know I'm right. Okay, so we have it typed in our list. Does everyone have all their data typed in their list? Anyone having trouble with that? Okay, now that our data is in our list, we can make our calculator do all the grunt work. So the other day I had you actually calculate mean, median, like I've actually made you calculate things. Or like you and I just calculated the IQR by hand. The calculator can do all that for us. Okay, so everyone has their list. Let's get out of here so second quick gets us out of there.
Yes.
Okay, so we want to actually know the mean. So we are going to go and press that stat button again. So you press your stat button and this comes up. And we actually want to calculate something since we want to know the mean. And then you probably want to write this somewhere in your life because it's the most useful thing I've been taught to date. You and I want the one variable stats. So you say I want the one variable stats, you press enter. Here is where we could go different. You saw me type it in, I typed it in L1. But maybe you typed it in L2. If you typed it in L2, you need to change the list to L2, or else you're not going to get the same thing.
This didn't go to that. I want to do one variable stats. This is that.
Okay, it works.
Oh, what'd you press?
Okay, so let me do it again. I press stat, and then calculate, and then one variable stats, and then mine asks me what list. If yours is older than mine, it might not ask you which list. It might just assume which list.
But how did it get there?
Did you press stat?
So how did you get it to go there?
I press enter. I press stat, calculate, one variable, and then just press enter, and it'll pop up. So you're not getting to choose which list, whereas I am. Okay, so hers is older than mine, so she doesn't actually get to control which list it calculates with. I don't think that's a problem for now, but maybe it will be later. We'll see. Okay, so I press enter a couple times. I get the one variable stats. We want to know the mean of the travel times. So we're wanting to know which of these pieces of information. You took notes yesterday. We said mean was something. It was either mu or X bar. Do you see an X bar up there? Yes, so what is the mean?
31.25.
So 31.25 is our mean. It says, how does the mean compare to the median? So our mean is 31.25 minutes. How does that compare to our median of 22.5?
Skewed upwards.
Is it, and I just want basic, is it larger than, smaller than?
Larger.
Mean is larger than median, and then Louise is reading ahead. You had a question, I can answer it.
Well, after I got it in, like I got the list in, but then
And hit enter. Hit enter for that. Like go to calculate. So we want to calculate one variable stats. Press enter on that, yep. And then press enter again. Press enter again. One more time. There you go. Okay. So we figured out that our mean is larger than our median, and Louise is reading ahead. The last question says, what does this confirm for you about the shape of the distribution hub? We know it is skewed. Is it left or right? We know it's skewed left because Well, you and I knew it was skewed left because
These are leaning upwards. Does that make sense?
is it skewed right left? I thought we discussed the tail was to the right,
Oh, yeah.
so it was skewed right.
Oh.
Okay.
More concentrated on the lower side.
Okay, and yes, I like that. That would work. But so back to, we drew these things yesterday, talking about the mean and the median. The mean is bigger than the median, so we're surprised that it was a skewed right graph. No. So what did it confirm? It confirmed, this confirmed the graph was confirmed.
This tells you everything.
Yes.
This tells you the Q1, Q3.
Uh-huh.
Amazing.
Uh-huh.
I'm
The
gonna hit this tomorrow.
data, never forget it again, is, especially when we start changing settings on it, skewed right. And then Louise was actually trying to think ahead of how to explain that better, as I swear skewed right is going to be sufficient for them. But if you explain there weren't many larger data points, that was fine. That was good. I liked how you phrased it. I'm not going to come up with it now, but it was good. Okay, are there any questions on that problem that we've been on for 5 years? Okay, flip to the back. We're still not done with that. So as discussed, technically throughout this whole problem, we've been cussing. We've just not gotten to the unusual features part, which is happening now. So for the U with unusual features, we have a specific rule in stats. In every other math class you've had, you've just decided something was an outlier. You've been like, that looks far away, outlier, and you can accuse someone of being an outlier in stats. That's not how it works. So in stats, you actually have to use a formula, and we call it the 1.5 IQR rule. The 1.5 IQR rule, yes. You're brave. Go ahead and try it again.
If I did, what? I think she was switched out. Would you put it faster? She said she could say it.
She was thinking about it since the first day. I know.
All I said was
1.5 times or 1.5 plus or minus?
I doubt she doesn't listen to me. I
Don't
eat
put it
pineapple.
faster.
Mailboxes are my only friends.
Pineapple belongs on pizza, just saying.
No.
Yeah, you're right. Bringing his double pineapple.
Okay.
I was done.
So it's called the 1.5 IQR rule.
I
And
have
it
a
says-
completely irrelevant question, but it's
Okay,
important.
cool. Yes.
Do you listen to your videos?
No.
Okay, that's good.
No. I don't like the sound of my own voice. Okay. If we're being honest. Straight up honest. So we have this rule that says 1.5 IQR, which literally means, and they define it for you, for the upper. Did you say something stupid in the past 2 minutes while I was gone and I need to listen back to
Not
it?
me.
It
Okay.
said the pineapple belongs on pizza.
Jackson, really?
Okay. Okay. Whatever.
Finish.
Okay, upper bound and lower bound. So they tell you, the 1.5 IQR tells you, if you take the upper bound, so if we take Q3 and we add 1.5 times that IQR, we'll figure out our top limit. And I don't mean limit like in calculus. I mean like you and I will say nothing's an outlier if it's not over this number. And then for our lower bound, we'll do Q1 plus 1.5 times the IQR. And we'll say nothing is an outlier if it's not below this number. And so if we take our numbers from our example and actually apply it, our upper bound was 42.5. Our lower bound was, or our Q3 was 42.5. Our Q1 was 15. And then our IQR was 27.5. Okay, someone who's actually done this math on their calculator got some numbers?
Yes.
Okay,
We
please.
have one upper bound outlier.
Okay, what's the number I'm supposed to put for upper bound?
83 point something on it.
Someone else confirm that for me? No offense.
That's right.
Okay, and then the lower bound?
I haven't gotten there
I
yet.
got 56.
Negative?
That's not what I got.
It should be a negative.
I got 56.
got it.
56.25?
Oh, she got it on there.
Okay, no, it happens to me all the time. Can someone else confirm it's 56.25?
Oh. Wait. what?
Yes.
Is it misprinted on here? Are you supposed to add it?
Oh, no, you win.
Okay.
You win. I just can't write, but you win. You know, like I even practiced it and wrote it down the right way. So Miss Compton can't read. For Q3, you're supposed to add the 1.5 hour for QR. For Q1, you subtract it, and that makes sense because we're trying to expand our horizons and give it a little bit more wiggle room. So you and I, we're really, in my mind, we're like accepting the middle 80%, and we're counting that 2 tails of 10% as the outliers. That's how it works in my mind. Is that really what's going on? I don't know. Okay, so it's not 56.25, is it?
We get a negative number.
Okay, that's fine. What is the negative number?
You got it.
And now my whole life is being questioned because it just feels wrong in my gut. But continue on with your thought. You said, Jackson, didn't you say something about for sure we had one outlier? That's the wrong
No,
one.
that was me.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Hunter. Jackson, somebody. Or somebody said something. Where'd my stats book go?
Half went up and found
There's
out.
one over here.
Bless you. Can I see your book?
I'm not sure if this is
Okay.
Is it not like with 5 times by QR minus 15 maybe?
It would make sense.
That would make more sense.
That would make more sense. And then I'm questioning in my next semester why I'm going to
You said you just got smart.
it's Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR. So it is correct.
It's fair.
Even though it's negative, it's still correct. It's fine that we got 26.25. Tell out to read my own textbook and the exact example is from the textbook. Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay. I'm not incorrect. Well, I was incorrect at one point in life, but it's okay. So that is the right answer that we're looking for the lower. That is the right answer that we're looking for the upper. Clearly, we didn't have anything negative with commute times because that's virtually impossible. You can't have a negative commute time. So the only thing that we could have is an outlier from the upper bound, and that is, you told me there was one, and it was, so we do have an outlier of 85 minutes. Whew. Beat around the bush with that one. And I know it says you're supposed to prove it, and I'm getting really lazy because I want to get to this other important part today. But one outlier of 85 minutes, and part of me just wants to like circle and draw, like, see work.
I just looked at the formula for standard deviation.
Don't look at the formula for
And I
standard
regret
deviation
it.
yet. It's really not a big deal, and again, as you already decided today, most of the stuff we're going to do in life. Okay.
What up?
Cover there. Okay, does anyone have any questions about us, the IQR, the Q1, the Q3, finding those outliers? Yes, ma'am.
Where did you get 85 from?
Where did I get 85 from? Oh, back to your data set, the 20 points from the problem. He was just looking through to see if any of those were above that upper bound. And we would have looked on the lower bound, but as she pointed out, like, since it's a negative, it's not going to happen at all. Okay, are there any questions about that? Then there is one more important thing today that's going to break your heart because I have an assignment and everything. Haha, there's no textbook. I figured out a way. And it's something called the 5-number summary. And I kind of drew a picture with it yesterday, so I'm pretty sure you're going to understand it pretty quickly.
Yeah, and the calculator tells you all of it.
And the calculator tells you all the things too, so there's really no excuse in life anymore. Okay, so the 5-number summary is everything we need to know, in that it tells us the minimum value, the maximum value, the median. It tells us that Q1 and Q3. So when we say 5-number summary, yeah, you probably would have thought of min, max, median, and now you automatically think Q1, Q3, and you've got the 5. Okay, what I'm going to draw on top is a box plot. So I'm going to put my whiskers, and there's my box.
Ooh, that's saying.
The whisper.
And then I continue on with my whiskers. Now mine obviously has a symmetric distribution because my boxes draw so nicely. Notice how they're exactly even around it, and they even look kind of even down here. So is it always going to be this beautiful of a box and whiskers? No.
No, because I'll never do the whole photo.
And just as a reminder, really we're saying we're kind of dividing everybody into fourths with this box and whiskers. That's what makes it so cool, is we're saying from here to where the box begins is the lower 25% of the data. And then here's the next set of 25%. And then from Q3 to the max is really that upper 25%. And I also like this visual representation because it kind of, again, stresses the importance of the IQR, because the IQR is the box, the middle 50%.
I think this is easier to understand now than it was when they just told us to draw the box and like put the numbers down. Like now that I know what the box symbolizes, that helps a lot.
It really does. So it's drawn into quarters, and it's really nice. I really like a box and whisker flag. I told you all these things. Okay, so we're going to do an example, and then of course I have an example for you to do, or I think a couple. So we need to create a box and whisker plot of the travel times from example 1. So what's great is you and I have already typed the whole list for example 1 on our calculator, haven't we? So we already have that giant list, thank God. So if we need to do a box and whiskers, we can go back to our stuff. You can always second quit to get you what out of whatever you were doing. Okay, so if you go back to that one variable stats, it tells you a lot of stuff. So we were just looking at this for the X bar because it told us the average. But if we scroll down when we do one variable stats, it tells us other stuff too. It tells us all the 5-number summary. It tells us the min, it tells us the max, the median, the Q1, the Q3. Hell, all you and I have to do is draw the picture.
Yeah,
It tells it.
It literally
Why do we have graphing calculators in like 3rd grade?
I don't know.
because literally we wouldn't do more.
Okay, so if I draw it, and in fact, how overachiever are you today? You're pretty. I'm doing pretty good. In fact, to be honest, I get really lazy, so I start drawing my box and whiskers with my graphing calculator, and I just kind of copy it down quickly on my paper. So how to draw a box and whisker plot with your graphing calculator? You press.
I got some settings though.
So we want to graph, but we're trying to do stats, so we're actually going to do stat plot. So you need to press second and then stat plot.
Where's that?
It's right above y equals in blue. So it's just like when you used to go to y equals whatever to graph your line, except you and I are in stat world and we have to be set special, so you have to press second and then stat plot.
There's 5 options.
There are 5 different plots we could turn on. We only need to turn the one on. It's at the top. It's in one of the gray buttons.
There it is.
Okay. So we're going to hit enter on plot 1 and mess with it. First of all, we need to turn it on. And then second of all, we need to
Change it to a
decide that we want to do a box and whiskers, because right now it's trying to do like a dot plot, and we'll go through all of these different ones and what it's doing. But you kind of know what a box and whiskers looks like. We specifically are going to pick the 5th one on the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get the 4th one is a box and whiskers as well. The 4th one is a cool box and whiskers because it considers the outlier, but our thing didn't tell us to do that. So I'm going to go with the 5th one, although I like the 4th one because it puts the outliers outside of the box and whiskers. Okay, yeah, exactly. Okay, and then once you've changed the type, it should just show L1 because that's the list we typed it into, unless you're fancy and you didn't. And then you press enter again, and you're like, can we just go already? Okay, and then as always, you can press graph on your calculator. But as you can tell, Ms. Compton has something graphed in regular math. So I have to press y equals and clear off whatever was there.
You can change the window until it's right.
Okay, we're going to get there. So does everyone have just their box and whiskers? If not, you got to delete the math you were doing in your last math class. And then you're like, hey, Ms. Compton, I would really like to zoom in on this. This is not a good zoom. So obviously we're going to press zoom. What class are we in?
Stats.
There is a zoom stat. I believe it's option 9. That is our go-to. Zoom stat is Zoom stat. Woohoo. And then I get super lazy, and I kind of copy what it did. So it looks like it was barely there, and then a little bit this way, and then a whole lot that way, and then a whole lot more that way. Okay, that looks great. And then would it be smart of me to go back to where I did my one variable stats, calculate one variable stats? Would it be smart for me to go back there and actually reference those points? Yes. So I could say really the min is at 5, the max is at 85, the median is 22.5, the Q1 is 15, Q2 is 42.5. Would it be smart for me to add that data to my box and whiskers? Heck yeah. But again, as always in math, we're in a hurry. So my picture is not beautiful, and I use the graph on my calculator to help me make it. Woo!
Magic.
Are there any questions about that?
I have a question about that.
Okay, what's your question?
If you're doing science or mathematics on the front of your desktop, which means because it says to add love or minus 8.
Yes.
And I know why it's
Already,
not.
Mr. Moore next door pointed that out to me. Just go be with Mr. Moore.
5 should be.
I love my 8. I'm still recording too, aren't I? Okay. So you have a teeny tiny worksheet. It's only teeny tiny. However, I realize it has a lot of problems, and it is already 55 after. So I will give you 10 minutes of class time tomorrow. No. I'll give you 15 minutes of class time tomorrow to finish this as well.
This is so misleading because it says 1, 2, and 3.
But 15 minutes is really going to be number 3. I don't know. Louis is pretty fast. He might can do 2 and 3. He needs to at least have 1 done by tomorrow.
I need to start.
He's gonna have it done Friday in the class today.
If you want to erase, yes. But I'm going to give you 15 minutes of class. Sally,
I'm sorry,
you are a perfectionist like me. You can finish number 3 tomorrow. You probably want to do 1 and 2 tomorrow. Or 1 and part of 2. Does that make sense?
Sorry, it's just habit. Oh, tomorrow's Friday. Keep thinking today's Friday. Wow.
Okay, and then I would tell you that I want you to type in a list. You can go back to your list if you remind you how I can. If you want to type over your data and how when you can, the easiest thing to do is just move on to L2. Type in the new data in L2. Eventually we'll clear them all out, but I would just type my new data in L2. It would make your life easier rather than erasing all of L1.